You guys want to know what pisses me off?
Let's hear it.
When I'm like trying to play a game with you guys, right? You know, it's after practice, after a long day, right? I need the break. Been a long one, right? And I get home and I'm trying to play, like for example, Apex with you guys, and my brother has my mom's phone, his Nintendo Switch, and the TV all playing. The phone is he's doing all those things at once, and it's taking up all the internet. Like that kid is legit glued to a screen, glued to TikTok, like social media and stuff like that. He's always on TikTok, Snapchat. Oh, it makes me lag and it pisses me off.
And just think how we would live without social media.
Yeah, live a whole lot happier.
It would suck. You'd be so bored. You had like, I mean, you could find things to do, but like eventually you're gonna run out of ideas.
Like, imagine what people did back in the 50s with no social media.
They were at war, Lynn, and that's what they did.
That was the 40s.
They fought wars.
That was the 40s.
Swear to God, there was wars in the 60s, and there was a Cold War.
I said 50, but that's besides the point. I get that, but like, social media is like ruining this kid. So the screens are ruining this kid. Like it is.
Okay. Like overall, like I can understand like maybe kids at a young age it could ruin, but I would say like social media has like more benefits than it does like negatives.
Not at all.
I'm agreeing with Riley.
No, like social media, especially nowadays, like with TikTok, how it's like constantly scrolling like in the Instagram feed and stuff. It makes people less like socially active. It makes people want to just like sit somewhere and just scroll mindlessly through.
But then again,
these apps.
But then again, it could also like bring up conversations about stuff. Like you see something
Conversations
on
that last
TikTok.
like 5 seconds. Have you seen this TikTok? Oh yeah, that was pretty funny. All right, cool.
Better than nothing, man.
Right, first, like I said, my brother, right? Now Riley, when we all go hang out in town, and like the second you get into the car, but what do?
Open up TikTok and don't talk to us.
Yeah,
When we're in town,
when we're
Or
driving to town,
around, like just doing stuff.
like when we go to the mall, right? We get there, and then when we get in the cars to go somewhere else, you go open up TikTok.
I won't lie because it's better than looking out the window.
But you could also just like talk to us and we can have good conversations.
Most of the time, it's not that though. Like when we do talk, it's like us just bullying each other, you know. And like that's how we all, you know, communicate.
But you don't contribute to the conversation either. You don't like try to bring up anything.
Half the time you guys talk about cars. I don't like cars.
You just sit mindlessly scrolling through TikTok. Like I said, mindlessly, you're just scrolling. Right? It's ruining you. It's making you less socially active because you don't want to talk to us.
I mean, I would disagree. Like according to EKU Online, social media has changed the way we communicate, but also like who we communicate with. You know, it has given people the ability to communicate across cultures and whatnot. Like I was like, not saying that I do that when we drive, as an example, but like that's more of a benefit from it. Like, wouldn't you say that's a pretty big benefit from it?
Well, here, listen to this one. Right? According to CNBC.com, right? There's a new survey which showed that as millennials spend more time engaged on social media platforms, millennials as in us and the younger generations, it's causing them to be less social in real life. And a study conducted by FlashGap, a photo sharing application with more than 150,000 users, found that 80% of millennials admitted to missing out on conversation because they were distracted by their phone.
Okay, then here's this. According to Time for Kids, it says social media is a fun way to connect with friends and family, and those who like friends and family who live like really far away, like cross states, cross the United States, you know. And it also says sometimes people use social media to find jobs. So I'm guessing there's a big amount of people that only have a job because they talk to whoever they need to talk to on social media, and that's why they got that job.
Right? Okay, I see that. I see the whole talking to family and doing that, but talking to family is not mindlessly scrolling through whatever you're doing. It's more of a phone call and you're interacting with the person and not interacting with your screen. Right? People need, like, for a conversation to be great, people need to listen and watch the person that's talking. Like, they need to hear their tone, they need to watch their facial expressions, watch their physical expressions, like their hand movements and stuff, to have a good conversation, because you know what's actually being said. Like, I know, I've fallen victim to this over over text, someone says something and I'm like, oh, why are they mad? Because like that's just the way I read it. But in reality, they're happy, and that's one of the points I'm trying to get at. Like, you need to be social. You need to be able to see what the person is talking about. And when I say social, I mean like interacting and talking and stuff and doing stuff with that person.
Use Snapchat as an example. You send pictures back and forth, and you can talk, and like you can tell the way they're feeling by their pictures they're sending you. Like if they're sending you black screens, it's obviously like mad, you know.
And
But that's not always the case.
But if they're sending you like face pictures, then like they're.
That's not always the case. Like me, I send pictures of my ceiling and my forehead to people, and I say stuff. So, right, so that's not always the case, and I.
Well, like you
And it
did
happens to everybody.
say, like you just said, you know, like talking over the phone, like sometimes you have, like that's the only communication you have with someone. You know, like if I want to call my aunt that lives in Colorado, or like see her or talk to her, like, or just any communication with her, really, I have to like either call her, you know. So it's not
Yeah,
like
right.
driving there is a viable option.
No, and like I get that. I'm just saying that people are less socially active. Right?
I
I
would
think in
understand-
social
hold on.
media can also like spark conversations, you know, like
I would agree that
Give me one example. And
like TikTok,
besides,
like
besides
you
just,
seen, like,
hey, have you seen this TikTok?
okay, like on NBA, like if a cool play in NBA happens and not everyone saw it on TV and they see it like on TikTok or something, then like you can bring it up and be like, oh yeah, that was really cool, and then you like can talk about it.
Okay. Here, let me throw this at you, right? Riley and Max, when we are sitting in first period English, right before class starts, what do you guys do to me? Like, what do you do to me?
Show you TikToks that we think are fun.
Exactly. That's not conversation. That's you showing me this. Be like, Lennon, look, and I laugh.
It could
and
spark
that's
conversations.
Most times it doesn't. Mine just gets mad.
Because it's constantly like, well, look at TikTok. I don't care. I don't care.
Well, that's just Landon being Landon.
yeah.
And like, social media create like on top of being less socially active, it messes with your brain, like it messes with your mind. It creates a false sense of reality. Like if you for me, for example, I'm big into like looking at like fitness creators and stuff. Like I'm interested in that, right? For someone who's just getting into fitness and they see like, okay, who can I follow to give me tips? And they find for like Chris Bumstead, and they find Noel Dazel, and they find Alex Eubank, and they find all those people that have been lifting for 10 plus years, 5 plus years, that look great. It creates a false sense of reality for those people, which makes them intimidated and scared.
Landon,
And it's what?
when people start like first weightlifting, what do you think they do? Like if they don't know what they're supposed to do, what do you think they do?
They look for tips
Exactly.
from the biggest guys. Like it's-
Exactly. They look it up
And-
on YouTube, which
Yeah,
is
but,
social
like,
media.
what-
if you look
goes-
at
what goes
Noel,
through their
if
head
you look
they
at
do that?
if you look at Noel, then like his Olive, like he admits to using like I don't know if it was test boosters or whatever, but he admitted to using enhancements.
Exactly,
Right.
but not everybody does that. Chris Bumstead has not admitted to it.
The farther you, Landon, the
Alex
farther you
Eubank
get
hasn't.
into it, right? The farther you get into it, the more you know, the more you can realize, and you can make your own judgment call on that, right? Like I know, like I'm not gonna look like Chris Bumstead, and I'm willing to bet he's on some sort of gear or
Right,
something.
But like you've also been exposed to this before. I'm talking about someone that's just new to this, and Chris Bumstead is not open about it. Creates a false sense of reality. He's like, if Chris Bumstead gives you a tip, and you're like, oh man, if Chris Bumstead does it, I could do it. I could look just like him.
Yeah,
That's the false reality I'm talking about.
For a personal experience, when I first like started weightlifting, like in my room, like I would just look up videos of like people weightlifting, and I would do what they're doing with the weight that I knew I could do, and then eventually like I realized that I would get stronger, so I could do more weight, and then eventually like you just get stronger and you can do more weight. Like
Some
you're not
people
gonna
don't understand
you're
it
not
like
gonna you're not well people you're like you're not gonna like just do what the people in the video are doing, because you obviously have to realize that they're going to be a lot stronger than you. And I get some people don't realize that, but like when they start lifting, I guarantee they're going to start realizing that they can't do the weight that the people in the videos are doing.
And then that would make them feel bad.
Without the people in the videos, they would have no idea what to do if they're just starting, you know? Like they would have no idea what a bicep curl is, like they wouldn't know what that helps.
And like
Without the people in the
that goes
videos.
really well with this one source that I found. It's called Future of Work. That's the website, and it's written by Mandy Edwards, right? And what she says is one of the biggest changes in the way that we interact due to social media is the sheer number of people that we can interact with. Like the sheer number of people that are like what Keegan said are in the rooms and they look up like weightlifting videos is insane. And it like
All right, well,
allows that
Let me counter
interaction.
you with that. Let me counter you with that, right? According to brides.com, right, I quote, according to Shore, no amount of virtual communication can make up for the real thing.
Yes, but then again, like, you can't always talk to people face to face.
No, like, I get that. Like, when Riley said his aunt lives in Colorado, I understand that. Right?
Yes.
I understand that. But when you get to the smaller scale, like, example for me and Joe lives 100 feet from my house. And me and him start texting each other, what's the point? When I can walk out of my door, walk for 30 seconds, and we can be face to face.
Because then, are you gonna get up and walk to his house just to tell him something stupid? Or would you
No,
rather
not,
do it on
not to tell,
Snapchat laying in your bed?
not to tell him just something stupid. I'm saying, like, for conversations. Like, why have a conversation with Joe over Snapchat when I can just go over his house and have that
What if it's
conversation?
like midnight and you don't want to get up and leave your house and get out of bed, go have a
Right?
conversation with
Yeah,
Joe?
no, that's a good point. I'm just saying, like, in the middle of the day, I'm just saying that.
I would also agree.
I see
I would
where you're
agree
coming
with you,
from.
Landon. I would agree that face-to-face conversation is better than social media, but you can't always have face-to-face, and that's why social media has more benefits.
Okay, yeah, okay, I get that. And okay, from the same website, brides.com, it quotes, while social media might not ruin relationships, it may create problems if you and your partner lean on these alternative modes of communication. So it is saying that right away, like, if you use it, okay, hold on, let me restart. It's saying that don't rely on it. It helps, right? Like, again, Riley with your aunt in Colorado, right? It helps. I just think that as of right now, as the people we are, we're putting too much of a dependence on it.
I would also agree. Don't rely on social media to, you know, like what you said, going over to Joe's house. But like you can't necessarily replace convenience. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. Okay, and like for us as well, I see where you're coming from. For us, we all live, well, except for Keegan. Me, Max live 6 miles away from each other. Wait, no, 12. Sorry. Me and Max live 12 miles away from each other. And yes, it is more convenient to just text him, right? But I would also like to go into town with him, and then since you live like 12, 20 miles from Max, if we go into town, it'll just be easier to pick you up. And like I'm just saying, like I get what you're saying, the convenience and stuff, but I fall victim of it too. I prefer convenience, and I see where you're coming from.
And it's also like, you know, thinking of it as like, let's say you drive all the way to Max's, and like, hey, you want to go into town, and it turns out like, hey, no, Max has something going on at that time, you know? It's also something like that, you know, because like, why would you come all the way to my house if I was, you know, and I can't go into town, like something came up or something, you know?
Exactly. So like, it helps with communication, right? Because I'm not just gonna drive to Max's house and just see, hey, you want to go into town? He's like, no, I can't. I got something to do, and then drive back home. Right now, if it were me and Casey, right? Casey also lives in Brandon. He lives on the other side of town. What I used to do before I could drive, I'd just walk over to his house. If he wants to hang out, if he's like, no, I'll be like, okay, I'll just walk back home, right? It's the convenience. So I would rather text Max and be like, hey, you want to go do something? He's like, no, I can't. I got plans. Be like, okay, cool. And I get that. I understand. Right? The convenience is a big part of why social media is as big as it is. And I can see where you guys are coming from, like how it's not that bad. I just think in moderation, it is good, just like everything. Everything in moderation is fine. And now I understand that.
So I think we've come to the conclusion of that, you know,
You can definitely see both sides of the
argument. Yeah.
Max, you got anything to add?
No, I don't have my Chromebook.
But so I would agree though with you, Lennon, that overall that, you know, like social media can be harmful, right? And obviously you see all the time that creating false realities type thing, like you see it on TikTok with a whole bunch of creators and stuff, like you see it all the time, and it is what it is, you know. With platforms like that, those realities, they're just gonna happen. It is.
Yeah.
We can't do anything about it, and it is what it is. But I think.
And I see. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You
And
got
I see where you're coming from on the side, like, of the convenience and the whole, like, calling and stuff, and like using it to talk to family. I see that, and I see how you are saying that that it's not harmful if used properly. Right. Especially in younger kids like Jason, my brother. He has a problem.
I would agree though that definitely the younger generation needs like
They need to cut back a little bit.
yeah. So all of us, this is something we can all agree on. All of us, we grew up in a weird time period of when we were kids. You know, we didn't have technology until
Yeah,
we
it was
were all.
it was like
we were
adults
all
were still using
yeah.
the flip phones and like the.
How
like
old were
the
we all at that point?
keypad
We were
phones.
probably around. We all got our
Kindergarten,
phone.
first grade.
Yeah.
I got my first phone when I was in 6th grade.
I think I got mine.
That's when I got
You
mine.
didn't
as
count
well.
like iPods or anything, or just actual phone?
Ooh, iPods.
Because like
If we're counting iPods, then I got mine in like 3rd, 4th grade.
Yeah.
When I had my,
I didn't
wouldn't
get my actual first
Yeah.
phone.
I wouldn't count my
Parents are
iPod because I
just
didn't
strict
use it for
at that.
social media. But we all,
Okay, yeah, that's right.
We all grew up in the weird time of, you know, we still had to go outside as kids because we didn't have like an Xbox or anything or something, you know. But I think today's generation, like Jason, for example, and like my brother and sister recently got phones, and they are glued to it. And it's like I remember when I first got my phone, you know, and it was exciting and all of that, but I think they use it 10 times more than I did when I first got
Yeah,
it.
because like it was still the same thing. Like we would still have to go outside because it was new. Like we didn't
Very
like put a dependence on it yet.
Yep. It's because yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, at least
I
we can
agree.
agree on something there, which is that
The youth needs to not be glued to their phone as
Yeah.
much.
yeah, parents just need to enforce more like,
Yeah.
restrictions on them.
Rules. Yeah.
Because I know I had rules on for my phone.
same. Like when I first got my phone, I had to have it, you know, like turned in by a certain time and.
I
everything.
still have a rule where I have to bring my phone down at a certain time, so I'm not on it all night.
I could
Yeah.
like see. I wouldn't mind implementing that at this point. Like I'm not on my phone super late, but sometimes I need to get to bed earlier. So that's another
I don't
part
know,
of it.
I-
Like I can agree, social media definitely harms there though. Like
I don't, know,
that.
I don't have
is-
the same problem as you, Riley. I'm passed out by 9, 10 at night. So.
I know you are.
Or not, I don't mean like between 9 or 10. I mean 9, 10.
I know.
So,
I know you
yeah.
are.
So, but no, like I said, rules definitely help with the younger generation. Like we're old enough and responsible enough to know that we need to go to bed and get up for school tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's a good conclusion to come to. Of we all agree that social media can be harmful and beneficial in its ways, and the younger generation
Yeah.
needs more help than we do.
And it needs to be used properly.
Yeah. Like, because I remember, like, internet first came out, I was like, yeah, you can put anything on the internet. And now it's like, censorships, it's like, no, you cannot put everything on the internet, you know? Because it's gotten pretty wild out there.
I remember seeing when eBay first came out, some dude tried to sell the state of Oklahoma for like 10 cents. Someone bought it too.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Alright, well, go on.
No, that was pretty good.
Alrighty. We'll see you boys later.